This video will focus on integration procedures. In last video, we were focusing on the requirements, making this UI using the flex card. Now we need to make it dynamic. For that, we need to use the second layer of the OmniStudio app, which is called service management. Under that, we'll be using integration procedures and data mappers. But first of all, let's understand what is actually integration procedure. For us, in layman terms, integration procedure is just a wrapper which calls all your third-party APIs, internal APIs, and give you a consolidated JSON data that you can bind it in the front end. That is your flex card, that can be your OmniScript, and render it to the users. So I know there's a lot of theories, but we'll have a practical coming right now. Just for your understanding, this is your IP. It is a integration procedure which is also called IP. It is a wrapper which calls your mappers. We'll talk about that. Call the third-party APIs, REST, SOAP, map it, load it, send emails, and process. It's just basically a declarative tool, basically drag and drop tool. You don't have to write any code, and it makes your task easier and give you a data JSON that you can map it to the front end to show this beautiful UI. So we have already created this UI. Only thing is now we have to make it dynamic. For that, in this video, I'll be focusing on our third-party endpoint, which is my weather API. We'll create that IP, we set the variables, call that endpoints, and transfer that and show that in the UI. Let's first of all look into this weather API. Obviously, this will be the requirements that will be given by your architect, but as of now, assume this is your endpoint, which is I'll give you the reference for this endpoint in the description. You have to sign up first to create your account here. Once you sign up, you get a free API key. It takes around 30 minutes to get that, because you need this API to access that endpoint. Now simply go to the resources, go to API documentation, and when you go there, go to your current weather, let's say, go to Swagger UI. It will give you the endpoint, it will give you what the parameters, what are the methods. Open the first one, which is a get method. It for us, in our requirement, we have to send some postal code and then show the information based on the postal code. Let's use this demo postal code itself. Now let's try to hit that endpoint, try it out. It will ask for that API key which we have already generated. Let's copy this, paste it, try it out. So it will flush the JSON data, which will contain the temperature, which will contain the city name, which will contain the country code. So this means this is the most of the information that we need on our UI. So now we know the endpoint, how to create that endpoint, how to use that API key. Now let's go to the second part, creating that IP integration procedure in the Salesforce. So for that, we'll go back to the same OmniStudio app. If you go here, you have your OmniScript integration procedures. So you'll have some default IPs already there, but for now we have to create a new IP, create a new button. So just name this IP. Let's follow protocol IP underscore weather forecast. Let's say weather will let you know what is actually these. This is good for the naming conventions. We can give a description: used to pull data from weather API. That's fine. Now for us, you'll see some of the parameters on the left, but our first task is this is just a IP that's been created. You can still save, or it's auto saved. IP is ready for you, and if we know, for us, we need to do an HTTP action to call that endpoint. Obviously that's a bit of learning curve, but as you see, you'll realize based on the help doc that this is the thing that we need to use to call the third party's internal name element. So now let's name this element. Let's make it a, let's say, what is a get weather data. Let's give a name of this. Now this is your path. Basically this is your endpoint which we found here. Actually your URL that we need to call, just copy it from here. Sorry, let's close that. So paste this here, HTTP path, and also we need to get the method, which is our method, which is we already know it was a get method. It should be mentioned here on the top though. Yeah, it's a get method, so in case you miss it, your IP won't work. And name credential is just setting the endpoint APIs. But before this, I need to make one more change, because this is the remote site. That's a third party API that we are calling. The Salesforce should know that for security purposes. So go to your setup and go to your remote settings. I've already created, but I'll show you how you can do that. Remote site settings, go here, and then you can create a new remote site setting. Click on this and just name the value pair, but I'll show you that I've already added. If you go to weather, I've just given the name, and I have given that API. Otherwise this won't work. It'll give you an error, because just for the security purposes from Salesforce. So now Salesforce already know that this is a remote site setting, they have to access it. We have hard coded the postal code, we have hard coded the key, and also we need a response action just to show that data. But how to show that? Just map it. Just take this JSON that's being generated, the element name, and map it here in the output. Let's make it in the response JSON path. Let's say now go to purview is basically just this is the way you see how that whether the IP is working, are you getting some errors or issues. Method cannot be null, so you'll get all those errors coming here. And you go to the properties back again. Obviously I know we missed that method, so you have your get, post, put method. For us, we are just getting that information, put that out. Let's go back, let's execute it now. So it's throwing me information, but I can see if I go to get weather data, it's showing me that, but it's not being flushed out in the response action. So let's see what we are missing. Response JSON path, send, we have to send the JSON path. Let's miss it out. Let's generate that out, because response action didn't know which JSON node to show. Let's go to the purview part, let's execute it. Now you see the same data which we saw in the Swagger. When you open the API, it was showing the data. That's being same data is pulled here, same data, API temperature based on the hard code value that we have. The structure now we have ready, the JSON is already there. Now we'll make this dynamic first of all, because you see that we have hard coded keys. In the future, if someone comes and just try to refactor your IP, it will be hard. So for that we need to get a set value. Set value is just a variable declaration, so it's easy to configure that. So here I can just put the API, and the future I can even put in the name credential also. Oh, let's drag it and put it here. Okay, let's do that way maybe. So for the naming conventions, generally I prefer using it set value. Just make it capital and make it a key. Let's make it an API key, actually that's better. API key is case sensitive. Now here you have to add the new value, and basically it's a just declaring a variable in any language, name and the value of it. So let's make it a name as API key. Now for that, the value we already know, which we have hard coded here. Let's copy that. It is the same API key that we had, so let's put it here. So now the my set value is ready, but let's how to use it. You need a merge expression. Let's use that. Just do this. Now to access that, we have to put the name. What's the name of the set value? This is the name. And to access any element inside that, we have to give the element name, and this is a case sensitive. Be careful, right? I have done so many mistakes on this. So colon and the name of it. So now nothing is hard coded. Yes, we have hard coded postal code. We'll figure it out also, but as of now we are trying to make it more dynamic. So you can see it's still working. So now the data is there. This postal code actually will come from account information, but let's keep it hard coded for now. So we have the JSON that's coming out. What next? We have to set the variable, call the endpoint. Now we have to transfer that data and map it to the flex card, so we can get the temperature map to the front end. Let's do that in our next video. Thank you for watching this video. Do like and subscribe to our channel. It motivates us to create more educational content for you. Thank you.